Welcome to Old Man Wisdom. We're looking at the Euro USD on our MT4 charts. Here we have price action view of the week and of course a look at our indicators as well and what they did this week. We'll also be looking at a forecast for the Euro USD for next week and what we might expect. So let's go straight over to the charts. So this is our price action for the Euro USD. We mentioned last week that here was our level and we was hoping for price to go all the way up here to the 1.08280 area. As you can see, this was literally the charts, and the way I marked it up last week, it got nowhere near that level. Instead it got to here. This blue rectangle, by the way, represents where the week started. So price made a high here. What we was saying last week was that we wanted price to come down to roughly this area here, the 1.04780 area. We wanted to see price stall, and then we wanted to buy the market. We did see price stall around about this area. It didn't quite come down to touch our zone that I marked out. If you had have took this buy, you'd have probably bought around the 1.05300 mark. And it doesn't look like it went very high, but actually if you bought at this area, you'd have caught over 60 pips, which is quite a significant trade to make. Hopefully you spotted it and took a little buy last week. There was only really this one kind of stalling opportunity here on the Monday, so hopefully you took it, but if not, then there is an opportunity for next week. You'll notice that price has come down and it really took some effort to burst through this zone that I marked quite some weeks ago now. It's burst all the way through, and so what do we want to see happen for next week? Well, you can probably guess what I'm going to say. I want price to move up to around about our zone up here. We want to see price stall, and then if it does, well, obviously we want to sell the Euro USD. That's what we want to have happen next week. Will it happen? Well, we don't know. We're not going to take a trade blindly. We want to see price stall on or around this area. It might be slightly over, it might be slightly under, but we want to see price stall around this area before we look to sell the market. Now, how far could we expect the Euro USD to drop? Well, if I zoom out a little bit, you'll see that I've marked another area down here, the 1.00000 mark. It's an extremely important area. I could see price moving down here, and I want to just quickly explain why I've marked this area. Apart from, if you like, it's a round number area. If we just flick over to the weekly chart, it's quite a long way down. If I scroll back in time, you'll see that here is the red line, the 1.0000 mark. And there's a cluster of weekly candles here. There's a couple above and a couple below, and I've picked the halfway mark. It just so happens to be an extremely significant area on the Euro USD. So that's why I would possibly expect price eventually to come all the way down to this level here. So back to the 1 hour chart on the Euro USD. That's what we can expect. I want price to move up. I want it to stall around this area and then fall away for next week. So let's go over to our indicators to see what happened this week. And here we are. You can see that I've left the lines here that I plotted last week. I wanted price to move up to our multi-time frame moving average. Again, it never got anywhere near it. Here the blue rectangle represents the start of the week, and almost at market open we had an opportunity to sell, but the stop loss is way too high at nearly 90 pips, so there's no way I was going to take that. Then we had a buy opportunity. Again, price is under the multi-time frame moving average, so that was ignored. And then on the Wednesday we got an opportunity to sell. The stop loss would literally be on our maximum of 50 pips. It was touch or go whether you would take this trade. It's very, very near to our stop loss limit. You may well have been tempted to take this. I did, and obviously I nearly got stopped out before it produced a lovely trade. This second opportunity here on the same day, on Wednesday, again the stop loss was even greater. It was kind of like 70 pips, so you probably wouldn't have took this one, but this one here was certainly an opportunity. At 50 pips we were looking to make 100 pips, a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, and you'll see that it took a couple of days, but eventually it played out and hit take profit. So A really good trade there on the Euro USD. What could we expect for next week? Well, we can see prices come all the way down. We'll just remove this. What we want to see next week is a very similar thing. We want it to move up as high as possible towards this multi-time frame moving average. And if price makes its way up, obviously the MACD will follow and go up towards the 0 line. If price remains under the multi-time frame moving average, then we will be looking to simply sell for next week. The multi-time frame moving average is based on the day chart. It's a 20 simple moving average. So if you haven't got this indicator, you just need to add a 20 simple moving average to your chart, and if price on the daily is underneath the moving average, then you'll be looking to sell the market. It doesn't really get any simpler than that. So for the last 2 weeks, our indicator has given us 2 really good trades. We had a small one here last week and a really good one here this week. Let's keep our fingers crossed that next week will be more of the same. So there we go, price action analysis and our MT4 indicator analysis for next week. If you've enjoyed our video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, here's a link for you to browse the channel. So enjoy your weekend, everybody take care, and I'll speak to you next week.